Good evening. I'm Robert Floyd, your town moderator, and welcome to tonight's town moderator special town meeting information center. It's a big name. It's not a meeting, it's a session. And tonight my purpose is to educate us, to read the articles, the motions under the articles, to listen to any questions, and what questions we can't answer, we'll certainly find the answers and bring them to the special town meeting, which is Tuesday, February 5th, William E. Norris School, Pomeroy Meadow Drive. Please come early. It's cold. We start promptly at 7. The moderator has information to share, so even though there's a line, we'd rather not delay the meeting. We expect the meeting to go the full 3 hours, and there's a great possibility, perhaps a probability, that the meeting will go a second evening, which has happened before, and that would start on Wednesday, February 6th at 7 o'clock at the Norris School. The town of Southampton. The first article, to see if the town will vote to accept General Laws, Chapter 64N, Subchapter 3, to allow a 3% local tax on the sale or transfer of marijuana or marijuana products by a marijuana retailer operating within the town of Southampton, or take any action thereto. There will be a few articles that, if they're not passed, this may not be one of them, but next ones that are coming up, if the town doesn't approve what's been designed for Southampton, then we inherit the state's laws. I believe this will be applied to the next one. The motion is move that the town vote to accept general laws, and it's the same as the article. All right, I read the article. From now on, I'm just going to read the motion. Part 1, general bylaws. To amend the general town bylaws, limitation on the number of adult use marijuana retail establishments. Motion is to move that the town vote to amend the town bylaws by adding an article, marijuana, Section 1, limitation on adult use retail establishments, as set forth in Article 2 of the warrant for the February 5th, 2019 special town meeting, or take any other action relative thereto. And as with the first article, the Finance Committee recommends, and both of these require a simple majority to pass. And anyone here in the physical audience who have any questions, please raise your hands while we go through each article. Article 3. To amend the general town bylaws, prohibition on public consumption of marijuana or tetrahydrocannabinol. And the motion would be to move that the town vote to amend the town bylaws by adding an article, marijuana, Section 2, prohibition on public consumption of marijuana or tetrahydrocannabinol, something like that, as set forth in Article 3 of the warrant for the February 5th, 2019 special town meeting, or take any other action relative thereto, and again, a simple majority. And the Article 29, marijuana, would read, Section 2, no person shall inhale, ingest, or otherwise use or consume marijuana or THC as defined in General Law, Chapter 94C, Section 1, as amended, while in or upon any public place, including but not limited to any public or private street to which the public has a right of access, sidewalk, public way, footway, passageway, stairs, bridge, park, playground, beach, recreation area, boat landing, public building, schoolhouse, school grounds, cemetery, parking lot, or any area owned by or under the control of the town, or in or upon any bus or other passenger conveyance operated by a common carrier, or any place which members of the public have access as invitees or licensees, or in or upon any other place accessible to the public. Whoever is found in violation of this bylaw shall, when requested by an official authorized to enforce this bylaw, state their true name and address to such official. This bylaw may be enforced by any police officer of the town through any lawful means, in law or in equity, including but not limited to enforcement by criminal indictment or complaint pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 40, Subchapter 21, or by non-criminal disposition pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 40, Subchapter 21D. The fine for violation of this bylaw shall be $300 for each offense. Any penalty imposed under this bylaw shall be in addition to any penalty imposed under General Laws, Chapter 94C, Subchapter 32L. Part 2, Town Roads. Article 4, Street Acceptance. The motion is to move that the town vote to accept Quigley Road off of Crooked Ledge Road as a public way, thank you, as shown on a plan entitled Quigley Road, prepared for the Southampton Planning Board and recording in the Hampshire County of Deeds, Plan Book 237, page 29, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, purchase, and/or eminent domain the fee to enter easement in Quigley Road for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Southampton, and any drainage, utility, access, and/or other easements related thereto, all as shown on the plan. And this requires a simple majority. Part 3, Zoning Bylaws. Article 5, amend zoning bylaw adult use marijuana establishments. The motion is to move that the town vote to amend the town zoning bylaw by 1, amending Section 5, Table 1, use regulations, wholesale, transportation, and industrial uses to add the new adult use marijuana establishment uses as set forth in Attachment A hereto, deleting the current Section 18, temporary moratorium on recreation marijuana establishments, and replacing with the new Section 18, adult use marijuana establishment as set forth in Attachment A hereto, or take any other action relative thereto. And this will require 2/3 majority. And no, I am not going to read the whole or any of the Attachment A, but starting off, there are definitions for cannabis or marijuana products, ceases to operate, commission, craft marijuana cooperative, manufacturer, marijuana cultivator, marijuana transportation, and it goes on and on. And this will be available at the town meeting when you check in, which again, I do recommend you check in early. Article 6, yes, sir.
Can I just ask a quick question? Why is that one 2/3 majority when the other ones are just a simple majority?
That's a good question. I knew that answer this afternoon, but I'm going to ask Ed.
Any zoning
That's right.
bylaw
It's a zoning bylaw.
versus a town bylaw.
The others were general bylaws. This is a zoning bylaw, and a zoning bylaw by practice are not amended at a town meeting. You either vote yea or nay. Any other general bylaw proposed can be amended on the town floor.
So by being zoned, is it a certain area of the town would have to be zoned for an establishment?
Yes,
Yes.
But not the whole town, it would just be
correct. And there's actually,
determined.
yeah, both in the A and the B, there's the table which lays out which sections, which type go in.
So those at home, the amendments say, thank you, Ed, the amendments A and B do lay out what sections of town this would apply to. Article 6, amend zoning bylaw, medical marijuana zoning bylaw. Move that the town vote to amend the town zoning bylaws by 1, amending section 5, table 1, use regulations, retail and service uses to add, quote, off-site medical marijuana dispensary in brackets, OMMD, in the brackets, quotation marks, and registered marijuana dispensary, RMD, as set forth in attachment B, here too, and 2, add a new section 19, registered marijuana dispensary, RMD, and off-site medical marijuana dispensary as set forth in attachment B, here too, or take any action relative thereto. And this requires a 2/3 majority as the one before, because there is zoning. And that will be available also when you check in. Part 4, financial items. Article 7, yearly. We have a few items that were unpaid in the previous fiscal year. They need to come to a town meeting for payment, for approval, and it requires a 9/10 majority. The motion is moved that the town vote to transfer a total of $1,276.62 from free cash for 3 unpaid bills from fiscal year 2018, or take any action related thereto. Police for a ProMark graphics, $485.25. The Highway Department, Holyoke Medical Center, $80. And for the Fire Department, Coastal Billing, $711.37. And these will all be explained Tuesday. Finance Committee recommended. Article 8, transfer from free cash to the Capital Stabilization Fund. To see if the town will vote to transfer, appropriate, $106,845.55 to the Capital Stabilization Fund. Said sum to be taken from free cash or take any other action relative thereto. That was the article, and it's similar to the motion. Simple majority, and the Finance Committee recommends it. Article 9, transfer from free cash to the open fund. Move that the town vote to transfer $30,527.30 from free cash to the other post-employment benefits account, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority, Finance Committee recommended. With each article in motion, the town does provide a summary. The summary provides reasons to support the motion and the article. Although we entertained that at the town meeting tonight for an information session, we do not want to encourage any debate. There's no voting. There's no pros or cons on any of the motions for the articles we'll be reading tonight. Article 10, transfer from free cash to the Operating Stabilization Fund. Move that the town vote to transfer $91,581.90 from free cash to the Operational Stabilization account, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority is needed. Finance Committee recommends this. Article 11, additional funding for town hall building expenses. Motion is moved that the town vote to appropriate $8,000 to the town building expense account from free cash, or to take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. And this is for unexpected expenses related to repair of the HVAC system and plumbing in the town hall. Article 12, funding for principal assessors certification stipend. Move that the town vote to transfer $1,000 from Assessor Administration Assistant Wage Account to the Certification Stipends Account to compensate the principal assessor for retaining state certification or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority, and the Finance Committee does recommend this. Article 13, funding for police department server replacement. Move that the town vote to transfer $14,208.29 from the police communication wages account to the police department police equipment maintenance expense account to replace the 7-year-old server along with the new backup system and antivirus software, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. Finance Committee recommends. The articles have been worked on by the various departments. They have been heard and discussed and voted on by the Finance Committee, also by the Select Board, who then formed the warrant, which is posted in a handful of locations in town. And once we come to a town meeting, the articles are what they are. The town has created motions which fit under the 4 corners of each article. A little wiggle room perhaps, but not to exceed the 4 corners of each article. And everyone who comes to a town meeting has an equal voice. No one has more responsibility outside the town moderator and town clerk, but no one has more privilege than any human being, any voting citizen from Southampton in that meeting. We wish everyone can be heard. We can't expect for everyone to speak on every article. There's a limit of 5 minutes per person, I believe, and other moderators believe that have set a 5-minute limit, that if you can't express your point in 5 minutes, you're not going to be able to do it in 15 or 20 minutes. Each person is allowed to speak twice on every article, except to answer questions. The microphone that is set on the side at a town meeting is meant for people to get in line rather than wait until somebody is through speaking. There is no yelling out a point of order, which means let's vote to vote. So let's point of order, let's call the question. And call the question means all in favor of ending debate to vote, signify by saying aye. We need 2/3 to stop debate. Then we stop the debate, and then we vote on the article. It's expected that each person who comes up to the microphone will offer something new and not repeat what they simply said 10 minutes ago for the same article or what the previous speaker said. That way, we get to cover a lot of points of view, we reduce redundancy, and even though we can go a second or third night as our bylaws allow, there's a general tendency to want to be able to go home at 10 o'clock and have the meeting dissolve. There are points of order. You can call the moderator any time that you believe the moderator stepped out of line or did something incorrectly, and you simply stand up and you yell, point of order. That will interrupt the speaker, whoever's speaking. The moderator will address you. You come up to the microphone and you state in your own words what the moderator did that you have a point of order for, and there'll be a discussion, and then there'll be a ruling. Anyone who has a question that cannot be answered, you then may have cause to make a motion to adjourn to another evening where that answer will be provided, which is why we encourage anyone with an article to bring their notebooks, to bring their answers. It's happened perhaps a couple times. The town has to vote on it by majority, and generally they want to continue. So we want your questions to be answered, and yet there are times when somebody may not have an answer. For example, the specialist who, the consultant who helped put together the marijuana bylaws, we reached out to invite that person to be in attendance Tuesday night, and that person is in Mexico on vacation and will not be available, but a planning board chair will be there to answer all your questions. Article 14, funding for police chief vacation payout. To see if the town will vote to transfer $4,286.29 from the police education incentive account to the police chief salary account to pay out the vacation time for the retired police chief, or take any action relative thereto. I read the article, same as the motion. Simple majority, recommended by the Finance Committee. Article 15, additional funding for PEG access. Just public education government. Motion, move that the town vote to appropriate $34,000 to public access television account, said sum to be appropriated from revenues received from Charter Spectrum from the town's contract with them, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. Finance Committee recommended. Getting back to speaking at a town meeting, it is the moderator's responsibility and the Attorney General's directive. If someone, the moderator is responsible for all points of order in a town meeting. If someone speaks out of the scope of an article that has nothing to do with a particular motion but something else which could be interesting, the moderator needs to gavel that down and call that out of scope and continue with the discussion. And so the moderator is there to really ensure efficiency in each person speaking. Article 16, transfer for Sharp's program. To see if the town will vote to transfer $1,900 from Hampshire Council of Governments expense account, move that the town vote to transfer $1,900 from Hampshire Council of Governments expense account and $1,000 from the annual adult expense account to the Board of Health Sharp's program expense account to fund the program through the end of the fiscal year, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. Finance Committee recommended. Article 17, transfer for treasurer software support. Move that the town vote to transfer $583 from the Hampshire Council of Governments expense account to the treasurer software support expense account, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. Finance Committee recommended. Article 18, transfer for Pioneer Valley planning. Motion, move that the town vote to transfer $583, I'm sorry, that's a typo, $14.71 from the Hampshire Council of Government expense account to the treasurer software support expense account, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority. Finance Committee recommended. Another concept that we review at the beginning of each meeting, there's not to be any bullying, any intimidating, referencing anyone by name, third person perhaps, previous speaker. So there are points of order that the moderator does review before each town meeting. Article 19, funding for extended illness account, COA van driver. Motion, move that the town vote to appropriate $2,500 from free cash to an extended illness account per PPPB policies to fund the leave for the Council on Aging van driver for up to 12 weeks, or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority required. Finance Committee recommended. Article 20, transfer from ambulance receipts to the ambulance operating accounts. Motion, move that the town vote to transfer appropriate $2,000 from ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation to the ambulance maintenance account to cover repairs to the ambulances or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority, Finance Committee recommended. Article 21, funding for tire truck maintenance. To see if the town will vote to transfer, move that the town vote to transfer $2,000 from fire department expenses to the fire department fire truck maintenance account to cover repairs to the fire trucks or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority, Finance Committee recommended. Article 22, funding for the Highway Department for required MS4 required work. Motion, move that the town vote to transfer $27,000 from operating stabilization to the Highway Department MS4 stormwater management expense account to cover the cost of required work to meet the town's MS4 stormwater permit or take any other action relative thereto, 2/3 majority. And that's because it's coming out of the operating stabilization. Article 23, funding for health director. To see if the town will vote to transfer $5,000 from unemployment expense account to the health director wage account to fund the position through the remainder of the year or take any other action relative thereto. Motion? Did I read the article? Yeah, same as the motion. Simple majority, Finance Committee recommended. Article 24, funding for health director. Motion, move that the town vote to transfer $10,629.01 from the operating stabilization account to the health director wage account to fund the position through the remainder of the fiscal year or take any other action relative thereto. 2/3 majority required because it's moving funds, proposed funds from the operating stabilization account. Finance Committee does not recommend this article. We have an Article 25. There will be proposed no action taken. This is Conservation Commission Forest Management of Town Conservation Area, and the intent is to put it on the annual town meeting. We have Part 5, Community Preservation Funding, Article 26, transfer CPC funds for library historical records online access. Move that the town vote to transfer $6,000 from community preservation funds to the Edwards Library to continue and expand online access of Southampton's historical materials available online to the public, and said sum to be transferred from community preservation surcharges historical preservation account or take any other action relative thereto. Simple majority, and Finance Committee recommended. There are handouts at the town meeting. They're on a table near where everyone checks in. A sample of every handout is required to be presented to Town Hall, Southampton Town Clerk's office the day before a town meeting at noon, in this case Monday at noon. And according to the laws of our Commonwealth, they can be anonymous. Those that are not approved will be removed immediately Tuesday evening. Part 6, bonded debt. Article 27, replacement of East Street Bridge. Motion, move that the town vote to borrow a sum of money, $1,600,000, to replace the East Street Bridge in the town of Southampton. Said funds to be used for construction, fees and permits, engineering, temporary easements, or any other eligible costs associated with the construction of the new bridge and the demolition of the existing bridge, and to meet this appropriation, authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Sections 7 and 8, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes therefore provided, however, that the appropriation authorized hereunder shall be contingent on the approval by the voters of the town of a so-called Proposition 2.5% debt, I know the word, but I want to read it, exclusion under General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, and authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to issue any bonds or notes that may be necessary for that purpose, as authorized by General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 7, 9, or any other general or special law, or take any other action relative thereto. A 2/3 majority is required, and the Finance Committee does recommend this article. There's 27 articles. We're done. I have another hour. I can keep talking. Again, thank you very much. The special town meeting will be at William E. Norris School, Palmery Meadow Drive, Tuesday, February 5th, 7, yes, probably all the way to 10 at least, if not for a second evening. We do ask everyone to drive safely, come early, register, it's warm, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much.